Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Todd Coons. Hey, if you've been doing photography for any length of time, you know that a lot of the gear that is out there looks really cool and it'd be really fun to have it, but you have a hard time justifying spending the price and you know, I just don't really need that to do what I do for a living. I don't really need that, but there are some things out there that would be cool just to have, just because they're cool. Now, by and large, all of the gear that I own is just tools. They're the tools that I use to make a living. But there are some things out there that I kind of wish I had that, but I can't justify spending the money. I happen to have in my possession this weekend, because of the amazing people at Spartan Photo Center. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more here in a minute, but the amazing people over there let me take a lens out for the weekend. It is one of those pieces of equipment that, you know, you really wish you had it. I wish I had it in my arsenal full time, but I haven't been able to bring myself to justify the price, and that is Fuji 500mm f5.6. Now that's right, a Fuji 500mm f5.6 for my Fuji X-mount lenses. It's not near as big as you might think it would be. At least it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's a big lens, but again, it's not as big as I thought it would be. You put the lens shade on there, it's going to look a little bit bigger, but it's relatively small for what I would think 500mm would be. It's also very light. Yeah, but 500mm is super, super long. I would think that the most part this would be a sports lens or a wildlife lens, if that's the kind of thing you're into. It's going to be perfect for that. We're going to put it through some paces because as soon as I heard about this lens, I was working with Spartan Photo wanting to take it out. And I've been thinking, what do I want to do with it? Wildlife is probably the obvious answer, but I thought, what could I do a little bit different? I am going to shoot wildlife, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently. If you know me at all, you know I love to light things and do that kind of stuff. So I've got a setup in my backyard with a bird feeder. We're going to take some strobes out there. We're going to light them. And we're going to put this thing to the test. It does come with the lens shade. It comes with a tripod foot, which we'll put on there. This isn't the kind of thing that I think you could hand hold very well. I know image stabilization these days and all that kind of stuff. Something this long, I think that would be hard. I wouldn't want to take the chance and hand hold this lens, get the perfect shot, and then it be just a little bit blurry. That just wouldn't be worth it. So it's a monopod or a tripod for sure, in my humble opinion. If you're a solid rock and you can hold something like this, more power to you. I don't think that I'm going to be able to do that. But we're going to go out in the back. We're going to do some neat stuff with this. Depending on how well we do, we might do a couple of other things. But yeah, Fuji 500mm. It's going to be fun. One quick thing before we go out, I just want to say a couple of things. Number one, there's the lens cap for it. 95mm filter size, for those of you who are wondering. 95mm filter size. Comes with a case, so you can have your own little lens pouch case thing for it. Comes with a strap. Big enough lens that it has its own strap. And then the other thing I find interesting, it has an owner's manual. Look how thick that thing is. An owner's manual just for a lens. All right guys, let me start by saying this as I get this on my tripod and stuff, that it looks really, really cool on my X-T4. That just looks amazing, does it not? But I will tell you, if you're not used to using a lens this size, it takes a little bit of getting used to. So I've been kind of playing for the last 10 minutes or so, trying to get used to all the buttons and such. So let me show you real quick. Obviously this switch in the middle, image stabilization right there, I've got it on right now. I maybe don't need it on since I'm on a tripod. And then at the bottom it's got some different autofocus modes, lock and preset. There's a set button here. There's a bunch of buttons out here that you can set for different things. To be honest with you, I'm not sure I can answer all those questions. And then of course you've got full, where you've got the full spectrum of what it will focus and then you've got 5 meters to infinity. I think why you would go into that mode, you won't be photographing anything closer than 5 meters, so you don't want the lens having that extra area that it's trying to focus within. I think that's what that means. Of course, there's an aperture ring. I love that about Fuji, that they put that on the barrel of the lens. That's really great. And other than that, pretty straightforward. Can loosen it here and turn to vertical, back to horizontal. Love that. So let me set up some lights for this, and ironically, the one day I go to do this, there's no birds in my backyard. Usually they're all over the place back here. And I don't know if you can see very well, but my pool has yet to be fixed from the hurricane a year ago. Hurricane Helene was actually a year ago next week, and we've yet to have the pool fixed. So I've got a Godox AD100 there on a stand. It's going to act like sunlight, but we're going to be able to control the exposure. And the big reason I'm doing this is because the flash duration is what's going to stop the wings of the bird, and a nice white fence will be a nice white background. At least that's my hope. Okay, I got the main light set up. I'm going to set up a second light, and this light is going to hit the background for the most part, because I definitely want the background going white. I just want a nice clean white background. And I'm also thinking that this light will probably spill over and hit the bird a little bit. So that light is on group A, this is group B. My hope is that the bird will fly in right here, and I'll catch him right there. Nice white background, wings out, beautiful bird shot, stop motion. That's the goal. Okay, so guys, here's my perspective. And again, you can see my broken swimming pool. But the bird feeder, the two lights that are over there, the white fence is the background, and then my camera and 500mm lens way back here. I am probably 50 feet, I'm gonna guess. I should measure it and give you an idea exactly how far back I am to get a subject like this. I've actually got my setup on manual focus right now, because I'm focusing on the bird feeder itself and then just hoping they fly into that plane of focus. So I'm on manual focus. I don't want it trying to hunt as the bird flies in. And I'm hoping I'll be good to go. Now I am at 5.6. I've got the lights set to go off and give me 5.6. I may need to go up to say 8 or 11. We'll have to see. If I power up the strobes, that just means that the flash duration is going to get shorter and less ability to stop the wings of the birds. So I tried to stay at a lower setup, but we'll see. We'll see what it's doing. For some odd reason, I've got no birds in my backyard today, so this whole thing might be a moot point for today. All right, so I've not seen one bird since I started this thing, and there are usually birds all over this backyard. I've got my bird sounds going on my phone, hoping to draw them in. I don't know if that'll work or not. But in I'm not a wildlife photographer by any means, but of the wildlife that I have shot over the years, it's probably some of the hardest photography there is to do, because it is so much just waiting and hoping they come, hoping you're in the right place. You know, in this case, I've got lights set up, but a lot of times you're waiting for the perfect lighting, and it's just a matter of sit and wait. So I guess that's what we'll do. Hopefully the weather will hold out. I don't think it's supposed to rain, but I like that it's overcast, because I'm not having to overpower the sun with my strobes. They're doing their work on their own. Make sure nothing falls asleep. But yeah, still looks good, exposure looks good. I think I'm good to go. I just need a bird. I do have bugs. Got bugs. So let's do this while we're sitting and waiting, because I still haven't seen any birds. They seem to be flying around like maybe they're checking out the feeder, but they just haven't come in yet. But let's talk a little bit about Spartan Photo Center. Spartan Photo Center, I've talked about these guys before, but they are the last physical camera store in the state of South Carolina. They also have an online presence, SpartanPhotoCenter.com. The website is pretty up to date. They sell a lot of used gear, and usually the used gear is very up to date on the website as well. They ship all over the country. Can't say enough about these guys. Mike and Amy, they own the store. They've been there for 40 years. Mike started it in 1985. I think he told me there was like 48, something like that, camera stores in the state at the time. Now there's only one. He's the last one, and they are fantastic. They rent gear, they sell gear, they process film. They actually have 1 hour film processing on Fridays. Yeah, just top of the line. They do printing, a little bit of everything, and obviously they sell some amazing gear. Nikon, Canon, Sony. The people that work there are fabulous. I was working there before I took my full-time job. I still am there a couple Saturdays a month, so I still work there occasionally. But everybody's great. They know their stuff. They can answer their questions. But SpartanPhotoCenter.com, they're here in Spartanburg. Fantastic. I highly recommend checking them out. I know B&H and Adorama, I know all those guys are big and convenient, but Spartan Photo Center, well worth a look. So if you check them out. Big shout out to them for letting me take this lens this weekend. They've always been wonderful to me, so thank you, Mike and Amy, for that. Yeah, so keep waiting for a bird. As long as a bird comes before the rain comes, we're gonna be good. Okay guys, I'm down here at the lake. I'm gonna try to redeem myself a little bit with this lens. Still no birds in my backyard. I'm not sure what's going on, but sun is setting here. And there's some ducks and some geese, and just want to take advantage of this lens while I have it. I'm not sure how this will go, but let's give it a shot. Show you the reach of this thing. I don't know if you can see that dock kind of in the middle of the screen way over there. But look with this 500mm lens. That's what I'm seeing. I'm going to say it again that wildlife photography is some of the most it's not difficult in terms of the photography aspect of it, the technical side of it. The tough part is the waiting and the finding and the getting in the right light and just the lowest rate of return. I mean, you could shoot 1,000 images and come up with 2 that you like. So my hat's off to good wildlife photographers. All right, so let's try this again. I've gotten up for day 2. It is Sunday morning. It's fairly early. I haven't even showered or anything, but let's get out here and try again. I'm at a local park. There's always some wildlife here. I'm gonna try to take advantage of having this lens while I've got it. I've got it on my tripod. I've got the monopod as well. Personally, I think you got to have some kind of stabilization. I'm going to do my tripod though. It's got a ball head, so I should be able to move rather quickly. But as you can see, beautiful lake. There's a bunch of birds over there. Sometimes there's a pretty herring here, but let's see what we can do. So the reality, guys, when I make these videos is I usually have a plan to take a pretty picture to show you how I'm doing it. And typically I'm in the studio or some kind of controlled environment, and I know that I'm going to walk away with something super cool. I was really excited about this video. I've been thinking about it all summer, and so I'm just going to have to chalk this video up as a failure in terms of what I wanted to do with this lens. Because the birds are not in my backyard, I couldn't set that up, and I've only got a limited amount of time with it this weekend. And now I'm down at the lake, and the ducks, I don't even know where they're at to find them. So I'm going to stick around a little bit, take a few more photos, maybe, if I can find anything to photograph, but a bit of a failure. But in terms of this lens, if this lens is something that you are interested in as a wildlife photographer, it's super cool. You know, you're somewhat limited because you've got that 500 millimeter and you're just at that one focal length. So there's a little bit of a limitation to that. However, at 5.6, it's relatively fast for a lens that size. It's also very fast when it comes to focus. I never waited on it. It was brilliant in terms of that. Is it worth $3,400? I don't know. That's a lot of money for a lens like this for me. I can say this. If you spend $3,400 on this lens, make sure you have a few $100s left in your budget to buy some patience, because you're going to need it with this lens. The kind of stuff you do with this lens takes patience, and yeah, you're just going to have to wait on the right situations to come along, the lighting, all that kind of stuff. I've not taken a brilliant photograph all weekend with this lens. However, it's been a lot of fun to use. And maybe I'll get a chance to use it again, I don't know, but I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up with kind of a failed video. We had a little bit of fun, but I appreciate all of you. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. We will do better stuff than this, I promise you. We've got some neat shoots coming up, and I don't know. As always, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video.